What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I broke the camera again, apparently, but we are live with some block sauce. So let me just get my camera up here real quick, and we'll get this show on the road. There you go. Now you should be able to see my pretty face. Hello, everybody. So welcome to the Block Sauce, your weekly web show that serves up the juiciest discussions in the world of Web3 gaming culture. I'm your host, Arena T Ambassador Jen Karen, and today we've got an extra special panel here for you because two of them are actually tuning in from Art Basel. So stay tuned to find out what's going on over there. Thank you guys and see you in just a second. All right, now we got a little 30-second intro.
OnlyFans?
What's up, everybody? No, we have not tried OnlyFans, Jorge. I switched scenes at the worst possible time ever. We pop in and all of a sudden the audience just hears OnlyFans. No, we're not on OnlyFans. We are on Twitter and YouTube. If you guys want to join the discussion and maybe ask some questions yourself, join us on YouTube. It's easy for me to see the comments. But that aside, how's everybody doing today? We got Dub and Jorge from a single camera. As you guys can see, they are tuning in from Art Basel. So thank you guys for taking time out of the event to
From
join
the
us.
jacuzzi in Art Basel. Please, we're in the jacuzzi enjoying our drinks from Art Basel. It's not Basel, it's Art Basel in Miami, Florida, okay?
Yeah, dude, we're just living, dude. This is my first time in Miami, and it's a little weird.
Oh, Miami's fucking great place. I love Miami.
I hate
It
Florida
became
in
like
general.
a fucking like cottage area for fucking New Yorkers.
Who goes to Florida willingly? Ugh. Anyway, so we do have quite a few discussions. We'll go ahead and just jump right into it. Dub, your favorite topic, Amazon Prime rewards. We got Gods Unchained rewards out there. Who's grabbing their Gods Unchained rewards? Nobody?
On Amazon Prime?
Yeah, it's Prime Gaming, baby. It's Dub's favorite reward system.
Hey, I do know Gods Unchained though is killing it. So like I know like the player base and everything they have has been like something I keep hearing from the crowd. So congrats to them on whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
That's
I think
it,
so.
I guess.
NFT Rivals is on Prime Gaming as well.
Oh, sweet.
I mean, also Planet Mojo has their third drop now, but everyone forgot with the second. So, you know,
I'm
my
not gonna
bet
lie.
Hooligans also.
I'm not
I
gonna
think
lie.
you can get the Christmas.
Go for it. I think there's a delay.
I was gonna say you can get the Christmas Hooli right now, and you know everyone loves to play Santa.
True. My only thing with Mojo Melee is I keep forgetting they exist. I don't know if it's a marketing thing or people just aren't talking about the game enough. I don't know what's going on. Like anytime there's a Prime airdrop, I find out about it from Dub because he's the only one that ever tells me about anything about Mojo Melee. So maybe you need to be an ambassador for them or something. I think they need to reach out to you, maybe set up a contract or something. I'm just saying Dub's definitely a good
Dude,
rep.
I just get the emails and I read the emails.
He's like, I just get the email. Oh man, actually, now that you mention, I think I do too. But
Shrapnel's is representing it. Our Basel, like hardcore.
You guys got a booth? Got a booth?
We got a lot. We got houses. We got merch
and models
and models. And
that's
pizza.
Awesome.
Male models.
Yeah. Well, while we're on the topic, why don't you guys tell us
keep the sausage party going?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Art Basel. I've been seeing on the timeline that there's actually a pretty decent Web3 presence out there. Is that true?
Oh man, like first of all, yesterday, okay, y'all know I'm a pretty hard Web3 critique, okay, while I'm here at Basel. And last night went to the Wilder World event, which was sponsored by Mercedes, LG, like fucking huge names. And first of all, their product, holy crap! Like it was, like Dub said earlier to me yesterday, like, why don't you ever play Web3 games? And I'm just like, I don't know, they're just not there yet. Yesterday, I played a Web3 game that I was like, okay, I want this now. Like, I want to play it. And so shout out to the Wild World team for what they're putting together, what they put together, what they're showcasing here in front of a big crowd. I think, again, these are the type of events and the type of stuff that helps them with discoverability. Shout out to everybody that's in the Web3 space here at Art Basel. The past couple of years at Art Basel, it's been quite growing, right? And I think like Web3 has had its presence here for quite some time. Now, in the past, it was NFTs, right? Because it very much went aligned with Art Basel because it was art. This time around with gaming NFTs and gaming heating up, it's great to see so much gaming presence. And again, Miami already has esports players. I mean, outside right now, there's like 4 or 5 esports players that are here at the house to support Shrapnel. And all the content creators, even at this house right now, that are here to support Shrapnel. So, like, again, it's heating up and it's in the hub of crypto, right? Miami is the hub of crypto in the United States. So it makes a lot of sense.
I was at Art Basel 2 years ago when there was still the FTX branding, and it was it was hot. It was hot then. I mean, in a really good way. So, so if it's your first time there, okay, and you want to like how do I say, hop around to different after party clubs, right? Don't. You will not get back in. Right. And, you know, me being Sinjin, I left one place and I tried to bribe my way back in and they're like, no. And I'm like 100, 200, 300. And they're like, do you know what you're talking? Like, this is Art Basel. Like, there are guys here who are like fucking, you know, multi millionaires who are like dropping like, you know, 1K to get in or 2K, you know?
Oh, dang.
And so like, I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not gonna like give you 100, you know, whatever, like 1K to get back in or whatever like that. But yeah, like when you get to your place, just stay there and it'll be popping later on, even if it's slow at the beginning. So don't hop around too much. You're not gonna get in the next place, especially if it's a joint event with the main Art Basel. There's no way. But if it's a Web3 event, maybe you can get back in. Oh, I want to introduce this is Buffy the Buffacorn that I got at last year's ETH Denver. Just so people were wondering, I was a volunteer steward there last year.
And it's funny you bring up ETH Denver because again, here at the Web3, like all the stuff, the talks of like, hey, what upcoming shows you're going to and conferences, it's picked up a lot. Again, we're the market is heating up, right? We know from all of us here, right, based on the activities that we're seeing and everything, but a lot of games right now are trying to either push a product, it's an NFT, a sale, or whatever it is, because of the market. And so again, it's a lot of speculation. It's fueling this market. And again, you have conferences coming up. So people are now like, okay, how do I get active? How do I get in front of more people? And so again, this is all part of, again, like the little circle of life of the Web3 gaming.
You know, but last year I got this huge bug after going to, you know, ETH Denver, and that usually happens, I've been told. And then I actually missed GDC because I was so fucking sick. So I'm like really wondering whether I'm going to go to our, you know, Basel, like over that of GDC. But, you know, hopefully I'll make it to both.
GDC, if you have to make a decision.
I was going to say,
right?
Definitely GDC.
Yeah, but you know, I was a volunteer last year at what do you call it, ETH Denver. So like now I get like a higher volunteer status as a steward.
Oh.
Whoa!
All right.
I mean, why would you want to be a prince in a sandcastle when you could be a princess at the ball?
True. Oh
Exactly.
man. Well, in other news, we've got Ape Iron. I hope I'm saying that right. They're apparently moving to Ron. I am.
Yeah, it's the right name.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Tell us about the game.
Move, right?
The game's interesting, dude. It's like a dungeon crawler. It's weird, to be honest. There's a lot of steps in between the core gameplay loop that you got to do, like mastering your dungeon and then choosing the characters. I mean, for me, I played it 3 times and then kind of was like, okay, I'm done with this game. And even though they're going to Ron, I'm not really interested in playing it again. Um, but at the same time, I did see a lot of people thoroughly enjoy it. Like I know the guys at games.gg really love it, and I've been playing it consistently for a while. So it's just not my style of game, but it is like at the quality. It's not just some browser based, crummy game. It truly has a lot of depth, and honestly, I think it has more depth than Pixels currently has too. So like, there's a lot more that can be done.
I think it's one of those plays right now. It's a speculation play, right? If you really look at it, everybody's kind of trying to flock to Ron because of the DAU, MAU, all the numbers they're putting out, right? And if you look at the effect that it already had on the game, I believe the floor on OpenSea they reported was like a 1000x move already, right? As soon as it moved to Ron. And so like it is again a speculation game that we're playing, right? People are going into it because they're thinking, yeah. Now, this is going to be interesting, right? Because this game has not the same mechanics that the Axie and the Pixel did, right? It's not like your typical farming game and stuff like that, and where bots were allowed to be used to kind of play these games. And so it's actually an interesting move or a great case study for us to really understand what the player audience or the players that are on Ron right now, are they really players that would want to play a game? So that's kind of like.
But just FYI, like it's not like Ron actually allowed bots. It was kind of by default. So they didn't allow bots to be on the platform. It's just
it's gonna happen everywhere.
They couldn't prevent it.
But
I mean, like I think it's actually another great topic to talk about, bots and how they're used in some of these games, right? And like I don't think it's ever going to be preventable, but is it also a marketing play from Ronan to do it, to showcase, hey, we got 100,000 active daily users, right? I don't know.
I think momentum's definitely with Ronan.
There's some benefits to Ron.
Ape Iron's not a game you can buy.
Yeah, there's some benefits to Ron though as a player. I recently started using it again. I used it in the past, but I only use it for like one game on the Ron ecosystem. But I started using it a little bit more recently, and I will tell you that as a gamer, having X amount of free transactions daily, absolutely phenomenal. Just this week I made a tweet about it. I had to pay $80 in gas just to cash out some money. Imagine going to your bank, and if you wanted to take some money out, they're like, nope, you got to pay us first. And it's like, what? So going to Ron and then being able to just cash out and there's no transaction fees because I only transact like probably 5 times a day, right? That was really phenomenal. I was actually impressed. So I think for gaming, it could be a play. I don't think it'll necessarily be the play. It's going to be just like Solana versus AVAX versus whatever. Each chain's going to have its own benefits, and I think Ron does have certain benefits others don't offer just yet.
Buffacorn said, fuck you, because Buffacorn's an ETH maxi.
I know.
Right? And said the scaling things will eventually work out, and then also, everyone can like shit on Ethereum and say all this stuff, but the fact of the matter is, like, still ETH still has all the major liquidity. But I would say second to ETH, definitely Ronin in terms of the potential there. But they're still very much a permission chain. I mean, you just can't go and build on them. You have to be, and they can kick you off.
Yeah, you also need to remember that you are paying a transaction fee, Jake. Just because it's fractions of a penny to you right now doesn't mean it's going to be that in the future. And if you want a truly free gasless transaction, you have to do a subnet on AVAX today to do that.
No, Ronin actually gives you limited. It's limited. It's not every transaction. You get, I think, like
but they can change that too, right?
I'm talking about everything, baby.
Yeah.
When Axie Infinity was in the first version, there was never any like transactional fees at all until they launched their decks, and then the transactional fees started happening.
See, I didn't know
Yeah.
that because I wasn't there for the Axie days. But I do know that I just transacted this week. And when you open your wallet to do a transaction, it tells you how many free transactions you have left. And I just thought that was neat for somebody who doesn't do a bunch daily. Now, if you're somebody day trading and flipping, that limit is going to immediately
Well,
get
it's not
hit.
even
So-
that. Like, let's say that back in the day, I had like 300 scholars, which is like 900, Axie, whatever, NFTs, and then
It
transferring
adds
them.
up.
It doesn't just add up. Like within like a day, like those free transactions are nothing. I mean, like even right now, I still hold Ron from those that last bit of the Axie era where we're like basically saying, okay, you can have them for free now to my scholars because they still wanted to play, but they were making like I don't know like $20 a month at that point. So we're like, just take it. But then I'd have to transfer it, and then I ended up having to pay some Ron. Of course, it's like such a small amount at that time, right? But if you're running like a massive scholarship or whatever like that, right? You're definitely using paying the transaction fees on.
Okay. We need to address the elephant in the room because we keep getting comments. Dub and Jorge are not in a tub. They're in a jacuzzi, guys. I see the comments. We are reading them. But yes, they are in a jacuzzi.
Yes, and they have no pants on.
You never know what happens if you might tip. It might get crazy up in here.
Oh, man. I just don't
nothing
stand
like
up. They don't need to see
sausage
that.
party orgy. Go for it, boys.
On
Hey,
YouTube.
we just bought this too. It's called Joy, and it says shower gel. So
I don't know where he's going with that. I don't think he even knew where he's going.
Obviously, Jorge wants to take a shower with you and use Joy. Obviously, I'm down with that. If you guys are into that, go ahead. I don't know if you and Jorge is a married man too.
Hey, I think hot tubs or whatever is one of the most popular categories on Twitch, right?
True. Maybe we
Yeah,
need Rod. We need hot tub streams. It's new meta.
This is the new Web3 meta.
KG said, "All right, time to leave now."
So the next next episode, I will join you guys all together. Right? We'll get naked.
Oh man.
Yeah.
There's room, baby.
Oh.
That's right.
No, not naked, not full naked. You just need to all be in Speedos.
I'll be in a loincloth or something.
Hey, I mean, look, I once Meiji hires me for a model, I mean, like the male version of Meiji. I mean, like.
So.
Oh no! I'm totally down with that. Jorge, I think you should do a live audition right now. Take off your shirt and then show the ladies and the men out there and everybody else.
I've lost control, guys. It's not my show anymore.
Meiji could be buying into. Obviously, I hired Fresco because he has muscles.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that was like 50% of the consideration.
Well,
just to give people some advice or thoughts, or there's two ways to pump the floor. A, the speculation by moving to chains, or by hiring some male models, because that's going to help you speculate and push that floor.
Well, let's tie this topic.
All right, you're on the spot, man. You can do a live audition right now by just taking off your shirt for the live stream, and then flex your pecs. Do it.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to put it back on the rails, and it's not working. All right, next topic. So let's kind of tie this over since we are talking about Ron. I don't know if you guys saw it, and it wasn't on our list to talk about, but Kagi put out a tweet that there was a token found on Ron for Sand, indicating a possible move for Sandbox to Ron as well. Now, this is all rumor at this point, but as you said earlier, Ron is not a permissionless chain. So for Sand to end up over there, I don't think it's a fake token. I think Ron is working with Sandbox on this. So I think there is some validity to his claims that we could see Sandbox moving over to Ron.
Yeah, you can't make a random token on Ronin, as far as I know. So
exactly. Yeah. And to coincide with this, what we did list for Noseweek, we also have Sandbox's mobile release coming next year. So do you guys think that it's a possibility we're going to see a move to Ron for them around the mobile release?
No,
there's any correlation?
Completely missing it. It's actually Prince of Persia coming over, and then they have the Sand token going along with it.
What version of Prince of Persia right now? I've only played up to 2.
Is that game still alive? Is that IP still utilized at all?
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fucking
I
movie about it,
have a
man.
Prince of Persia NFT. Like they've dabbled
Oh,
in the space. Yeah, like and it's a physical toy that has a digital like coherent.
so you
So
seriously
yeah,
think
I
it's a
mean
Prince of Persia thing, or are you joking?
both.
Oh, okay. I was like,
He's
wait.
just fucking around with you with even with that answer too. Both. Why didn't you just answer it straight? He was just fucking around.
Okay.
It's
Well, it
like
could be.
it could be either.
Now that I know Prince of Persia has NFTs, there is a small possibility. I still think it's sandbox, but I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility
Was
completely.
the token sand? If it
Yeah.
was sand, it's got to be yeah.
Well, you'd think it's sandbox, but Prince of Persia, sand. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, like they
I think
wouldn't
it's
use
sandbox.
Prince of Persia or Prince or no, they would use sand. Just because like all of Persia back in the day was desert.
So-
Absolutely.
I mean
Hang on.
yeah,
All in
I mean,
games.
it's probably-
You ignorant Americanos.
Hang on, guys. All in games said they stopped making Prince of Persia and traded it out for Assassin's Creed. I feel bad because that's a downgrade.
Ooh.
I liked Prince of Persia more. That's just my take.
I'm down with all of it. It's good. Great IP, original games back in the day.
Oh, the original Assassin's Creeds, like the first few, I was
Yeah.
all about those.
Yeah, they're
But then
fucking awesome.
I don't know. I couldn't stay with the series. But it's a good game.
I would say if it is going to be sandbox, the way they're going to roll it out is they're going to do an entire map. They're going to mimic the campaigns they've ran before when it's like, hey, here's this new area of the sandbox land, and this square is going to be the pixels, and this square is going to be Axie, and it's going to be that because that's what they can do, right? And hopefully there's some innovation sprinkled along on top of it.
Okay, I don't hold so many bags, but I have two. Sandbox lots by each other, and I've been holding for the last like 2.5 years. So fuck, if they move to Ron, I will be fucking happy as fuck.
Well, no, yours are still in the Polygon land, sir, and thus you don't have any bags left, unfortunately.
Mine's on
I hate
fucking
to tell
ETH,
you.
man. It's not on
Well,
Polygon.
I mean, if they allow people to bridge or something, I mean,
which they will, obviously. Yeah.
we hope.
I don't know. That's not a
Don't be a
multi-chain
Debbie Downer, man.
rollout.
We'll see what happens. I don't know. I wish them the best of luck. Sandbox isn't really a game for me. I'm not. It's weird saying this because I'm not really a sandbox gamer, but I'm trying out the new Lego Fortnite and actually kind of enjoying it. But I've played the Minecraft. I've played the 7 Days to Die. I usually just can't stick with them unless I have a dedicated group. So that's kind of why like Sandbox, Pixels, those types of games, not really my bag. Not saying they're bad games. I'm just throwing it out there that me personally, I can't stick with them. So I still wish them the best of luck. And I think that the Ron move could be very beneficial for them. I say could be because we saw what happened with Pixels. Now 40% of their player base is bots. So that kind of sucks. We talked about that here on the show a couple weeks ago. If you missed that episode, go check it out. It's on YouTube. So yeah, unless anybody's got anything else for that, we can talk about the next one.
But you know, I'll say
just gonna
there's
say.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you.
Okay. Well, I'm
sorry guys, we got a little delay with Dub and Jorge. It looks like they're playing from a hotel or something. I don't know. Blame the lag.
Slightly off topic, but Hytopia, those guys and Arc, I think they're a fantastic team. They're like a Minecraft play because they had actually gotten kicked off of Minecraft before. I think they're gonna make huge fucking moves. And my son loves Minecraft with his friends, and so we don't talk about like all the games that are kind of getting the hype, but I think that's a very solid project right then and there. And I want to give a shout out to those guys. The core team. I know a couple of them through Wolves and stuff like that, and I think they're fantastic. I think the community is fantastic too.
What you got?
Yeah, and I was just going to say the last sandbox thing I played in was through my Playboy NFT, and they did like a whole Playboy sandbox land experience, and like I learned a lot about Playboy, and it was a weird experience, and it was kind of cool. So like I'm still hopeful for whatever they want to build.
Feel kind of nervous him saying he learned about Playboy while I'm sitting in a jacuzzi in.
I was about to say, weird in a good way though, right, Jorge? like
Right.
slightly excited. That's what's making you uncomfortable.
That's speculation, right? This is a speculation game. So yeah.
See, that's why they're so far apart. They're too nervous to get close, so they're actually
No.
getting the
You
camera.
don't know, because if you're panning down, they could have their legs like interlocked and stuff like that. You know.
They are. Actually, they
Oh.
are.
I'm
Whew.
sure.
We're not wearing socks either.
Woo!
Well,
Crazy.
in other news, moving on, we have a $25,000 Parallels TCG tourney. I am not going to be participating, unfortunately. But Dub, aren't you doing anything with them? Are you playing in it? No.
No, I wish. I mean, I wasn't cool enough to get the invite. Thanks, Koji.
Oh, it's invitational.
Yeah, it's invitational.
Right.
There's a lot of big creators involved.
Yeah, I mean, I did help get a couple of the creators that are there now into that tournament, and I'm really glad to see them playing it. So
Yeah,
I think one of my
I
friends
think
is playing in there, and he's an ex-world champ for Magic.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool seeing all the stuff that's happening, especially with some of these games now that they're being almost fully developed, right?
Mhm.
You're starting to see now more esports, from the Web2 space coming into our space, trying to explore it. And again, the monetization in our space because of the instant payouts with certain things, the way that blockchain works. And this is really, really cool to start finally seeing how this works and that gets paid out and played out. So I think shout out to everybody right now that's has this ability to showcase that, and hopefully we'll see more of it.
No, absolutely. I think we're getting to that stage where finally now the games are coming out. I mean, like basically, like game development takes a fucking long time, and now a fucking long time has started to actually happen. And it's not that long, but I think like Parallel obviously has been in development a lot longer than some of the other games. You know, we're out on our beta for like January, but basically our game is done as well. And, you know, that was 18 months to get to pre-beta, right? And our game is relatively simple. Look at these cool fuckers. I wish I was cool like that in a hot tub in Miami.
Well, while we're speaking of tournaments, while we're talking about tournaments, we have a tournament that we are hosting tomorrow for Mega Weapon. We also have a bunch of content creators involved who will be live and streaming. I'm going to be hosting it and doing some commentary. I have not done any shoutcasting in probably close to 10 years since I was doing shoutcasting for Evolution Gaming back during League of Legends. So wish me the best of luck. But I am looking forward to it. And I believe we have Dub. You're joining us, right, Dub? You were supposed to join us, but I think you forgot about Art Basel.
Yeah, I kind of had life hit me with 300 curveballs since saying yes to that. So you know, I'll try, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Yeah. I'll add another one. By the way, Mix Mob is having
2 p.m. Eastern,
Sunday.
by the way, is when we're hosting this tournament. Sorry to cut you off, Jorge, but we want to make sure people know that we are hosting a Mega Weapon re-NFT tournament tomorrow with a bunch of creators at 2 p.m. Eastern. There you go. Sorry.
2 p.m. Eastern.
No.
You heard it.
What time? You know,
2 p.m. Eastern.
Shouting out also Mix Mobs. They are teaming up with G2, one of the largest esports teams out in the world, on Sunday. They're going to be playing Mix Mobs. So again, a lot of this tune of what we're hearing and seeing is finally starting to come together. So again, that's pretty major. So I think it's pretty cool to see it all in the space kind of starting to evolve.
I'm just glad that we got tournaments and stuff rolling again. You know, it felt like kind of a slow year. I know with the bull and everything, people weren't wanting to throw money at these types of things. So me as a Web3 gamer, I've been kind of bored. It's fun to jump into a game, check it out, and try it. But it's another whenever there's actual coordinated effort to get people in, and I can play with other people and play against other people. So I'm loving that we're starting to see these tournaments roll out again. It's been fantastic. I can't wait to jump into more myself. So does anybody have anything else for that one, or are we going to move on? But again, we have a re-NFT tournament tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come check it out. Got a bunch of creators. 2 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on the Block channels. So
for Parallel, it's a fantastic move, and it's a pretty standard move in the gaming space to do a tournament with a prize pool and stuff like that. And I think a lot of the other tournaments previously have been like kind of a hype fest to kind of
True.
just promote the game and put eyeballs on it with an incomplete game. But with Parallel as a, really, established, beta, I'm very excited for them. Like, they've just been doing everything right, and their timing has been so good that, I'm super envious of them, but I'm also like, I'm not jealous, in the sense that, like, yeah, it's so good to see them, and they're doing it right, and they're great fucking guys. And, as another game designer to other game designers, to Koji and those guys, I respect the fucking hell out of them. And their podcast is like so fucking good because it's just so authentic and down to earth that I just fucking love listening to them.
I don't disagree. Parallels has actually been doing a lot. The timing for everything, like you mentioned, has just been spot on. I don't know if they've got some insider knowledge that we're missing or what, but like they're rocking and rolling. I love to see it, especially getting such big names. Like you mentioned, there's a MTG world champion playing. I know that they managed to get like some Hearthstone and Legends of Runeterra players as well. So it's not just the physical TCG guys that they're bringing in. They also have the digital as well. So really cool things that they're working on over there. But before we jump into the Games Award topic, somebody mentioned something that I think we should let Sinjin speak on. I heard Meiji made a new hire recently that was pretty big.
Yeah, I hired, as everyone knows, Fresco by his gamer name.
I was like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, the two guys that are here, Dub and Jorge, they're definitely on my short list as well. But you have to hire people one at a time. I'm really over the moon having Fresco. I actually met Fresco on Gaspod's podcast, Twitter space one time. Oh. And this is very, very early. Obviously, it was one of my first Twitter spaces. And I was so like impressed with him that I just reached out and said, hey, I mean, like, just loved what you said. And he said ditto, kind of thing like that. And then we've met at 3XP and, we've known each other, I guess, for about a year now. And so, I think it was a really big hire on our part. And I know that, he had done so many great things at Metalcore, and Metalcore still popping off. So, for me, it was also a lot of validation as well. To bring him on. Just really fucking over the moon. And I think him being more native to the space as well really adds to the fact that I'm a grumpy old vulgar brute. He will be the charming, younger, taller, slimmer, more muscular version of me, and I can still just be me. So it's good.
Dude, that's so great. I got to hang out with Fresco here at the shop house for the past like 12 hours, and I had a nice heart-to-heart with him last night about it, because I just got to join my dream at Shrapnel. He's joining Meiji in his dream, and it's like I'm really excited because like all the things that if I was to be in his shoes that I'd be pushing you on, he's excited to push on, and like it's a great combo, and you guys are going to do awesome things.
Yeah, I think like where we're at right now with the game being done, like one thing that was impressed upon me in Web3 is like I've been so kind of obsessed with saying like our game is there that I just kind of missed the plot, in the sense that like it's actually not a big deal that our game is done, because like that's what games need to be, getting to, that they're done. And I was kind of missing the bigger message of, what our vision and ecosystem play is for Meiji, in like kind of building out this kind of like, ecosystem of, I don't want to use metaverse, but like this ecosystem of, your own Yakuza empire. And that was a major reason for me reaching out to Jerry, Fresco, was that, we're at that point where I am finally making a proper gameplay trailer, game trailer, and a gameplay trailer, and all the rest of it. So, yeah, I love his takes. I think that, he is extremely balanced, but in a very insightful way. I'm extremely unbalanced in a very, whatever range. So it's fantastic. But, I want to give a shout out to both Dub and Jorge. You guys are definitely on my short list to poach sooner than later.
How short is that list?
That list is pretty fucking short. I mean, it's like the guys who I do like I'm only on 2 regular Twitter Spaces and presentations. One is the Block Sauce and Gamified, and that's on purpose. I've had a lot of like requests to go on a lot of other places, but like I can't stand the other fucking founders sometimes because like they go on and they shill. And I'm like, you motherfuckers don't even have a game and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because you know what I realized too was like I go through the teams and they don't have a senior producer. They don't have a producer for their game. And you know what that tells me right away? They fucking outsource the whole fucking game, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like how the fuck you have a studio and you don't have a fucking senior producer on your team? You know? Like and I'm like, oh, no wonder these fuck nuts, like when I hear them on the spaces, like they don't know fuck all about what they're talking about. Right. And it was funny. We had a space where there was basically we were talking about like actual business models for Web3, right? And they kept on talking about tokenomics, like half of the founders, and they didn't even understand the fucking question. And I was like, wow.
Sounds accurate.
But yeah, Gene Karen, I love you too, man. I love Rod. Although Rod I can't hire because he's like pretty much the founder and whatever NFT and major exec there, so that's not going to happen. But I love Jorge's takes. He's always professional, always never stepping over the line, and always insightful. And Dub is so fucking like legit on all levels. I think Shrapnel got a fucking steal with you, brother. Yeah. So yeah, but I appreciate all you guys. Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
So that list is very short, Jorge.
I'm gonna make sure I clip this and then I'm gonna promote it.
Yeah. But had you done the striptease right now, that could have been like a Meiji moment where I would have said, "Oh, okay, you're in right now." All right.
Hey, like Jerry Maguire says, "Show me the money."
Motherfucker, if you party with me in New York, I got all the fucking money.
Well, in other news,
shout out to
go
shout out
Jorge.
to Scary Barbie that's in the comments today. Hopefully she'll come on the show one day.
Maybe one day. So I just want to throw an extra shout out as well. If you are not familiar with Owned, I believe this is the last week for their ongoing tournament. They have a couple of days left, so make sure you guys get involved. Their handle on Twitter is @PlayOnOwned. If you minted your Merc, you're already eligible to get in and start playing. Go follow them. Go check them out. Another, ongoing Web3/Web2 promotion situation. I haven't, unfortunately, been able to participate myself because I have a time zone and work schedule that does not allow me to join all the time. But they have been doing various games. They just did CSGO this morning, I believe. They were doing Fortnite the first week. They've also done Metalcore and some other Web3 games. So they have a really good mix and balance going on over there. And I think they're onto something when it comes to onboarding users. So we'll see how that plays out long term. Again, last week to get involved, go check them out. That being said, Game Awards. We can speed run through this real quick. I'm curious to your picks, and I will go through each of the categories, and we'll see how many we can get in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And this should be interesting. I was on Gaspod's Space earlier this week. He did something kind of similar because he couldn't find any guests, and the feedback was definitely interesting between all the participants. So I'm curious to your guys' input. But
hey, Gaspod, if you ever need a guest and you don't have any, I will guest for you. I love Gaspod.
Right? I've been making it to spaces a lot more frequently lately because the schedule has been changed for me a little bit. And I've seen a lot of people say that he's boring and that he puts them to sleep. Like I think even in the Wolvesdale, Sam said something on one of the spaces once. And I was like, Sam, I love Gaspode.
No, that was me.
Oh, that was you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love Gaspode.
I meant that as like a compliment actually, because he sounds like very measured and accountant like, but yet I'm still compelled to listen to that voice and believe everything he says.
Yeah, Gaspode is actually an accountant in real life, and so
that explains everything.
I know
it's really cool. Yeah, and so it really actually is really cool to hear him speak in the sense that his train of thought and the way he looks at gaming is completely different. Kind of like with me, I have a banking background, so I look at gaming completely different than actually like gaming itself. And so it's not attractive really for like gamers, I would say, right? It might be more attractive for like a meta gamer. But like again, what he speaks is again very intuitive to what is that game building and how it's being built and how it
Yep.
works. And I think it's very much needed in this space because there's a lot of times people are a little bit of like lost or not understanding, or if you're a Web 2 gamer coming into Web 3 and not knowing economies that well, like you need a tutorial sometimes on like how economies work and
Yep.
why you're even buying or selling it. People forget like one of the most common or most dumb thing that we don't do is like the easiest, like we think it's normal that to buy and sell some of these assets, and like yeah, it's so easy, but like not everybody sees it that way or understands it that way, and we don't ever like explain it to people how it works, and we're just like, hey, yeah, go buy this NFT to get into the game or something, and they're just like, you just talk to me like in a whole different language. So yeah, I think I really like what Gaspo does.
So
Yeah,
if you're not following Gaspo, you need to go follow him and tune into his spaces because they are very informational. I tend to find new games through him. I don't know what he's doing to find new projects, but I used to be first to everything. I can't do that anymore. So I go to all his spaces, and that's where I find new games. Definitely worth checking out.
But I want to say, as a gamer, he is a gamer, and I think through his background, he's giving value add, as Jorge's saying, but like, I don't actually find him boring at all. I don't find like whatever. I think it's like, I think Web 2 gamers would really appreciate actually him. And his numbers goes to show that we're still a bunch of fucking degens in this space.
We are, let's be honest. But let's get to these categories. So we got Best Action Game. It looks like the final 5 nominees are Dead Drop, Metalcore, Big Time, Illuvium, and My Pet Hooligan. Personally, I think it's a little weird that Illuvium and My Pet Hooligan made it into Action Game. I mean, there's kind of action, but I don't know. To me, I think this one, I would give it to Metalcore. I feel like they've got the most action going for them.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest issues with these award shows, right? Like we're not able to really put them in the right categories. And this is where I think that the production behind it needs to step in rather than the voting needs to step in. Because we need the production to handle what category it's going to fit in based on majority of the gameplay before the voters happen. Because I think we saw this in last year, or we saw this is that multiple times same game title in multiple different genre categories, and that makes no sense. You don't see that really like across other things. So like I think this is the part where I say production needs to say, hey, this is labeled this and this is labeled that, and that's it, and like that's where you're gonna vote, because again, it's getting a little like funny.
I don't disagree, and that was my feedback too.
Yeah, I wish they had an original genre award, because then Meiji could fit in there, because we don't fit into any fucking category because we're an original PC game, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, where the fuck did we fit in? Like nowhere. But that's okay, because we're fucking original.
Strategy,
multiplayer.
action.
Yeah, that's the tags that we have. Yeah.
But what do you guys think? Out of the current availability, all the labeling aside, who's your vote?
I like Metalcore, and I like Dead Drop. I know Dead Drop gets a lot of like really pointed criticism, but I think they've done a lot of things right. And if we're talking about like what's kind of representative of Web3, I do like Dead Drop, but Metalcore. Yeah. I mean if they pull it off like Armor Core or whatever like this, like fuck, of course I'm gonna play that shit all day long, right?
Yeah, I mean, just comparing what's available as far as gameplay goes, I would give it to Dead Drop, just because it's just more consistently available and consistently quality, while the Metalcore builds have seemed to have been on a roller coaster from being good to being bad to being good again.
That's true.
It's tough when you have such a large scope with Metalcore, because like at the end of the day, as a AAA game, right? Like doing open dev in a AAA game and trying to give a playable build of a section is like fucking like crazy. right? Because at the end of the day, like when you do that final like vertical slice for these guys, like that will take like 6 months, 8 months really to get everything pieced in properly, right? So again, like then it should be split up into like AAA to like whatever. I don't look at like Dead Drop as necessarily a AAA game either, right? So these are other categories where it's like almost like you put an indie game with a AAA game in the same category. It's kind of nuts, right? But again, that's where we're at in Web3. And at the end of the day, I hear Omar talk and I get it. Like, there are limitations to where we are at because of the stage of the industry. But like for what their intention is to like kind of create attention to this, right? And the validity and the validation, then I think the mission still stands, but it's still a little messy at the moment.
Jorge, what's your vote? Labeling aside.
Yeah. I mean, again, the Dead Drop, is it really, what category is it really, right? Is it a first person, is it a not first person shooter game because it's
It's a racer now.
yeah, it's got a little bit of a mixture.
That's a pre-game.
That's why this is action game. It's very general.
Oh, so that's
Yeah.
general.
All right, I see what you did. I mean, if I'm looking at this, it's hard to judge this, but if I'm looking at this of the game that's going to help with mass adoption, it's got to be Dead Drop, right? Because of Dr. Disrespect and what he's doing with that community, right? He's literally converting a Web2 community to Web3, and without doing any of the things that we say we shouldn't do in Web3, right? So I'm bullish on Dead Drop.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I've heard a lot of things that he's not being very successful at the moment. His community's not really down on it, right? It's slowly losing his grip on his community over this.
Yeah.
All day. But what I'm saying is he's not trying to shove it down their throat like we do in the Web3 space.
I agree with that. But one thing I want to point out, I think it's funny that Big Time wasn't even part of the discussion. All four of us and not one person even commented on Big Time.
I don't want to look at it as negative. I just, I'm looking at what are the better ones. Yeah. Like I give kudos to Big Time because they're still in the game and they were one of the really major hyped ones like Illuvium back in the Bull. And, they had been very much written off and they came out with the token airdrop / whatever thing that they're doing now, which has kind of kickstarted the kind of re-meta of, tokens and gameplay and stuff like that, because a lot of creators were like, you don't even need tokens. And now every single game is like, we have to have tokens, kind of thing like that. So, kudos for them, like, holding the fort down and getting to this point. But, in terms of where I think where we're looking at in terms of just our picks, I would look at, Dead Drop and Metalcore myself. I heard the Pet Hooligans actually quite playable, but it's not their core approach anyways. They're really going for more IP brand. So
I think My Pet Hooligan would fall more under the casual category in my opinion. I mean, as far as adventure game goes, I don't really think it's an action adventure game. To me, it's more like a party shooter, sort of like Splatoon. That's my personal take. So I'm not saying it's a bad game, but I think that's a mislabeled category for them personally. But moving forward, now we got best mobile game. We got NFL Rivals, Mighty Action Heroes, Skyweaver, and Axie Infinity. Now, I know because of the way that the voting goes, I expect Axie's probably going to win this one, but my vote is probably going to go to Fableborn.
Yeah, I got to give it to NFL Rivals just purely on how many downloads and installs they got. And I've been very public on how much I hate the game. But as success is success, and they've done it.
Well, here's the thing, though. So keep in mind, a lot of the NFL Rival downloads are going to be Web 2 gamers just downloading it on the App Store, right? How many of those Web 2 gamers do you think are going to be voting in this contest? So that's why I think Axie is more likely to take it. But I think you're right. I think if we were to talk about like raw player base and popularity, I think Rivals.
What was the category?
Best mobile game.
Mobile.
Best mobile game.
Yeah.
Okay. I think from a dev point of view, game developer point of view, honestly, I have to give it to Fableborn, right? And Vasu and Maria, they're fucking fantastic. and you know, I think it's great, and I think the market has really responded. They didn't mint out, and now they're up like, I don't know, like 5-10x on whatever their initial mint was, and they're doing everything as I think what the ethos of Web3 should be like. So on that basis, as the fact that I think they're building a solid game as well. Fableborn all the way for me, but if we're just looking at again the capitalistic model of like the most downloads and whatever like that, NFT Rivals obviously is right up there.
Yeah.
But if you were talking about like what a game award should be, it's not based on how much money it makes, right? It should be based on like how is it pushing the space forward, especially right now. Like we're really picking on we should be basing it on the potential and its contribution to Web3 more than anything else, in my opinion.
I don't disagree. I think gameplay should also matter, but that's just me. That being said, the next category is where things start to get a little screwy. It's Best Adventure Game. The titles are Illuvium, Phantom Galaxies, The Beacon, Big Time, and Ember Sword. And the reason I say this gets wonky is Ember Sword is technically not even playable publicly, so people are confused how this even made it on the list since nobody can even play the game. And I would have to agree. It's hard for me to make a judgment call if I haven't played the game. So in this case, earlier this week I said I'd give it to The Beacon because I think that they were the most fun adventure game I've played so far. And I didn't get bored necessarily. I didn't play it for as much as Big Time, but it has that replayability factor due to it being a roguelike.
Dub.
Yeah, I just don't think they fit that model. Like they have one game loop that's this dungeon.
All of them do.
And they've remixed it like 300 times to the point where no one wants to do it anymore. But I think the narrative story that Phantom Galaxies has produced and is currently finishing up remaking on Unreal Engine 5 is super fun and super engaging and is going to do a lot for bridging Web 2 Web3 players because essentially everyone's playing this one player solo campaign mode, but playing it in a multiplayer server. So as they're doing it in their basic Betty little character, I'm walking around with my super fancy NFT pristine mutton chops wearing avatar and mech, and they're like, oh, I want to look cool like Dub. And then they get into Web3 and all this stuff, and they've housed it inside an actual one-player campaign that even my friends that aren't in Web3 yet, they still talk about Pinaway and still talk about these characters because I streamed it to them and like they're interested in that story. And I don't see a single other one of these games in that list actually doing that.
I would agree with you. The only concern that I have is the Steam launch for Phantom Galaxies did not go over well and has not been well received. Now, obviously, those are issues that can be fixed in time with patches and updates. I have not personally played that game either, so I was unaware that they had a single player campaign at all. So I may have to switch my vote over to Phantom Galaxies if that's the case.
I think they only have a single player, right?
No, they introduced a multiplayer. I mean, they're trying to introduce multiplayer. And, it's good so far, but it's not their depth,
Yeah,
I'll put my hat in for Phantom Galaxies as well, but like in my personal opinion, it's like a pre-release. It's like when Cyberpunk came out, and like it took a year for them, or 2 years before like the game was actually polished and like refined enough for it to be a solid game. I think that's where it's at. And again, that's the issue with building in public and building a game of that scope in the short period of time. So I'm not going to be a hater here.
Yeah, and also the hurdles they had to go through. Like they literally had the build on Unreal Engine 4 all the way through Chapter 4. They decided when Animoca purchased Blowfish Studios outright that they're going to remake it on Unreal Engine 5 right away. And like they still haven't even caught up to the Unreal Engine 4 build that they had previously, So once they do, and as they do that this year in 2024, like I know it's going to be great and go over really well. And they have miles to run with it because they can just keep releasing new chapters that they already have fleshed out on the lore side with their creative.
So we're definitely not getting through all the categories today, but we can do one more before we got to wrap things up. We got.
I have to run in a minute though. Go for it.
Yeah. So best casual game: Sunflower Land, Fableborn, Axie, Infinity, Pixels, and My Pet Hooligan. See, My Pet Hooligan's in casual game. I called it.
I mean, I
You are
think
a
casual
prophet.
is. I think casual is a word that was don't think many people understand what it is, right? Like, what do you consider a casual game, right? This category is a funny one, right? Because look, actually, could be a great casual game. It's not really much work to do. Then So I have a tough time trying to tell you what's the right choice here.
Yeah, I
I
haven't played any of them except My Pet Hooligan, so I got to give it to My Pet Hooligan.
So this one is hard for me because I also want to say My Pet Hooligan, but I don't know. Like that's a game I have to sit down at my PC, and it's not something I'm going to casually play. It's something I have to set aside and like dedicate time to. Whereas Fableborn being on my phone, I can just pick it up, play whenever. I think a lot of these games fall into that category. So I kind of lean more towards Fableborn or Axie. However, I've seen Sunflower Land popping, so I feel like this category could really go any direction.
I've had very positive things about Sunflower Land, but I would pick that maybe as my one or two, and then I would give 2 awards to Fableborn, mobile and
Nice.
casual. Mm.
I gotta say this segment of us talking about games has been really cool and really fun. But I kind of want us to like do a quick recap because it's funny how all of us came to determining what we thought made the games good, and there wasn't actual like a preset of like a checklist of like, hey, why should be this game be nominated? Like Dub like mentioned like earlier, oh well, NFL Rivals got 200 plus downloads or whatever, 200,000. Okay, well that's a great metric to showcase that the game's good, right? Now we're talking about Axie and Sunflower Land, and like we know Axie's done really, really well. Like, so how come we're not judging it on those metrics? So I love that this conversation. It just shows that, again, we need some more direction on how we're gonna vote and what determines the vote to make some of these games to say who they are and what category and why they're even nominated.
See,
You know what Sinjin's criteria is? Sinjin's criteria is if it's a solid team, it's a good game, and it has potential. That's my
exactly.
criteria.
And,
Like
and if he owns the NFT.
well, it's like what?
And if I own the NFT. That's right. I do own the Fableborn NFT. Just one. Just one.
Well, it's like Web 2 Game Awards, right? I don't care how many
I
downloads
believe.
they had. I don't care how many active players they had. I vote based on whether or not it was a fun game and I enjoyed my time with it. So why would Web 3 be any different? Why do we care about active downloads? Why do we care about daily users? Are they fun games?
Because Jorge is a strategist consultant and he needs to talk about this kind of stuff.
No, I
And it's
get
top of mind for him. But we're in that industry phase as well, and I get that.
Mhm.
And Jorge, you're absolutely correct as well. I mean, like, what is really the criteria here? If I did Sinjin Awards for like, content creator and all these other games, it would be totally different. And I'm sure Jin Karen, maybe there would be some crossover. Dub, there would be some crossover. Jorge, absolutely no crossover. So,
Oh,
and I think like the Oscars and Golden Globes and stuff like that, there is a sense of lobbying as well. So, why did some make it? Why didn't some make it? Like I come on these shows and, I talk a lot of shit and, I expect to be held accountable to all the shit that I talk about with the game that I develop. And so, proportionally, I talk a lot of shit and, I think that my game is the motherfucking shit. But I don't play the lobbying game whatsoever because that's not my focus, right? But once the game is out more, obviously, then I'm going to take these award ceremonies, shows a lot more seriously because that's the stage where I feel that we're at. But for where we are at the industry and what Game GG's trying to do, great. I admire them. And I think it's great. And I think some gems like Shrapnel, like Parallel, are getting the press that they really deserve, right? And Fableborn as well. So I'll take the good with the bad at the moment and hold my judgment and appreciate what's out there right now. Yeah.
Love it.
perfect. So I know people got to leave right now, so we can go ahead and wrap things up. But before I do, does anybody have anything else they want to add before we wrap everything up?
I'm 4 minutes late to my next appointment, so wrap it up.
Go to
All right.
shrapnel.com. Thanks.
Go to sauce.io. Go to wakergames.com. What else? I mean, I'll show all.
Don't forget our Mega Weapon
clothing.gg.
tournament tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget our you guys got it. All right, that's gonna be a wrap for us today, ladies and gentlemen. This was another great episode of the Block Sauce, but we are now coming to a close. Before we say farewell, again, thank you guys so much for taking time to join us, especially Dub and Jorge. I know that you guys are over there, Art Basel, and enjoying your time over there. Hopefully, you enjoy the rest of the event. But we also couldn't have done it without our amazing viewers and supporters. You guys drive our engagement and passion to bring you the hottest topics and thought-provoking conversations week after week. Remember, the sauce never stops flowing. Make sure that you guys follow us on social media. If you're not aware, we do have a website as well, blocksauce.com. There it is, flashing down below, all of our pretty little faces. So go check it out. That's going to be it. That's a wrap, sauce enthusiasts. Join us next time for another thrilling episode of the Block Sauce, where we'll keep the gaming flame alive and the discussion sizzling. Stay saucy.
Shout out to Wildcard.
Web3.
Love you guys.
Peace out.
All right.
All right. Have a
Ciao.
good one, guys.